Happy New Year. Welcome to our new monthly segment here on Completely Booked, where we sit down with our Readers Advisory Committee and have a conversation about all the new releases coming to the library this month. If your New Year's resolution was to read more, this podcast is for you.
This month, Shawn Norton visits us again and gives us the rundown on all the new titles you'll find in the library, plus all the fun programs happening for Literacy Week. So without further ado, here is our podcast with Readers Advisory member Shawn Norton.
Hi, Shawn.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Not yet. I typically think about them over the course of January to figure out what I need to do.
Yeah. What about you, Gabby?
Honestly, to read more. I want to do the 52 books in a year challenge. I would like to accomplish that this year. So maybe this podcast can help somebody with a similar resolution.
Totally.
Yeah, there's actually a really good challenge for that online.
Yeah.
Book Riot has one called Read Harder. That's bookriot.com. And they typically give you a genre or a location that people don't necessarily read. And the idea is to broaden your horizons.
Very cool.
Love it. I mean, I don't even know if I could read more. Read every night for at least an hour.
Yeah, I want to hit like the, when you're waiting for something and you're just kind of like scrolling through your phone, I want to like replace all of those instances with
reading.
Love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk new releases, Shawn.
Sure.
What should we be looking out for in January for adults?
For adults, there are two big ones coming. There's When You See Me by Lisa Gardner. This one already has a waiting list of over 100 people. So while you're waiting, I would recommend maybe Unsub by Meg Gardner or The Vanishing Season by Joanna Schaffison. But this one is Lisa Gardner taking three of her characters, Detective Warren, Flora Dane, and Kimberly Quincy, and putting them all in the same story where they're investigating a murder from the past that has connections to a present-day crime for all of them. So it's kind of uniting different threads of her novels. There are actually a lot of debuts coming in January, and the one I'm looking forward to is called The Vanishing Birds by Simon Jimenez. It's a science fiction story about a mysterious child landing into the care of a solitary woman. It crosses space and time, and it's been connected to the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin and to the comic series Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Very cool. Okay, let's talk book to movie adaptations. What's coming out in January that our library card holders can get excited about?
Sure. Well, the biggest one is The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle is coming out with Robert Downey Jr. as the Doctor and a pretty ridiculously stacked voice cast for the animals.
I'm really excited about Dr. Dolittle. I loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't seen it in probably like 15 years, but fond memories.
Yeah,
what I do remember.
I hear that this new one's very good. Like, it got tons of good ratings on.
It's getting some buzz, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of getting lost in the noise with all the movies coming out in December too. But
yeah. Anything Robert Downey Jr., I'm pretty cool with.
Yeah. The other one is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson is being adapted, and that's going to be starring Michael B. Jordan, Brie Larson, and Jamie Foxx. It's a true story about the man who founded the Equal Justice Initiative, dedicated to representing people in need.
And what about DVDs that our customers can expect to rent in January?
There are three biggies. There's Joker is being released in January, which had a lot of press, both good and bad, and has been reviewed pretty favorably.
We were kind of chatting the other day, and we were talking about how there are so many streaming services now that eventually you're spending around $50 a month sometimes on just like Hulu, Netflix, HBO, all of these things. And we were kind of thinking like DVDs might be coming back. Like, the rise of DVDs again, and the fact that you can get, Joker, which seems like it just came out recently, and then it'll be on DVD. You can actually have it transferred to your branch, and it's kind of the new wave.
Yeah. What about graphic novels?
Again, I picked two for this. One is a nonfiction called Spring Rain by Andy Warner. It's a graphic memoir about their semester abroad in Beirut, and they have a mental breakdown while the city erupts into revolution. It's been compared to Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, which is a very famous graphic novel. And I think it might have some similarities to Marbles by Ellen Forney, which is one of my favorites. I'm also really looking forward to Unearth by Cullen Bunn and Kyle Strom. This one's fiction, very firmly in fiction, science fiction, and horror. It involves a disease ravaging a remote village in Mexico, and then a task force travels to investigate the contamination. It's actually being compared to Annihilation, which I'm really a fan of, so I'm hoping that this is going to be, at very least, it's going to be interesting to look at, and the author has worked on a lot of really good horror comics in the past.
Cool.
And are there any new e-resources coming out in January for adults?
Nothing brand new, but I've been exploring Lynda a lot lately, and I found that to be really useful for things like building my own skills through work, and I think that could be useful to our
Yeah,
listeners.
I mean, especially right now with the new year, New Year's resolutions, if you're looking to like level up your career, Lynda is definitely the resource for
absolutely.
you. Definitely. Now let's talk new releases for kids. What are some hot new titles for teens?
Sure. So for teens, the biggest release coming out is called This Light Between Us by Andrew Fukuda. It's the story of pen pals, a Japanese-American boy and a French-Jewish girl during World War II. This one has gotten lots of buzz, and it's showing up on review sites all around. So I'm looking forward to that one coming in. I'm also looking forward to, just as I know I've mentioned before on the show, I'm a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's a new novel coming out called Chosen by Kirsten White. It is a teen book, so it counts, but really I'm going to be the first in line. So,
And what about for little kids?
For little kids, we have a picture book coming out called Boxitects by Kim Smith, and it's a STEAM-centered book around a girl named Meg who builds using cardboard boxes. There's also a new Pinkalicious book coming out that's an early reader, so for your kindergarten and first graders. And for middle grade, so this would be upper elementary, early middle, there's a book called Notorious by Gordon Corman. It's told in different voices, and it's about two middle schoolers who team up to find gold rumored to be hidden by a famous gangster.
I thought it was going to be about Biggie Smalls. Is it inspired by Biggie Smalls at all?
I don't think so. I think it's, Notorious is like this local legend who's supposedly buried gold. It just seems to remind me, the story kind of reminds me of like Tom Sawyer, how they were searching for like the pirates treasure. So I'm hoping for kind of a modern spin on that.
Yeah, like a
Very
modern adventure book.
Yeah.
And are there any new graphic novels for kids that you're excited about?
I didn't see too many for kids, but there's one for teens coming out that I'm really excited about. It's called Go With The Flow. It's by Lily Williams and Karen Sheenman. The previews that I've read, there's a preview available on Publishers Weekly. It reads like a cross between Are You There, God? It's Meet Margaret and Raina Telgemuir's work, which is super popular with this age group. It's around a group of friends, girls who are upset that sanitary products aren't available in the bathrooms, and they start organizing local protests that get bigger and bigger as they interact with the government.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
It's really, really cool. The preview is awesome.
Cool. And are there any movies we can expect to see in the branches for kids?
Sure. I mean, I mentioned Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, which I think has kind of a cross-generational appeal. I'm looking forward to it. So it's my daughter. Mm-hmm. And also the new Addams Family from last year is coming out on DVD as well.
I loved that movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was good? Okay.
Yeah, I saw it at San Marco Theater with my 5-year-old and my husband. And my son, Arlo, now goes around singing the theme song like... Yeah, it's so cute. I didn't think he would like it so much, but he loved it.
That's great.
Yeah. He's because it's borderline, kind of scary, but kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so he loved it. Being
Great.
just 5 years old.
It's good for people who are, like pining for Halloween again. They can get their fix in Addams Family DVD. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. What can our library card holders expect to see in the branches during the month as far as programs and events go?
So the biggest thing for January for us is that the Literacy Week. It starts on January 27th, and you can celebrate and help promote literacy at any library location. A lot of locations are going to be having events or programs. Everyone's going to have displays, things that can help you either build skills in reading or just foster a love of reading, things that are fun to read out loud or read with other people.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the programs that will be offered at the branches during Literacy Week? Like, what have we typically done in the past?
So in the past, we've done kind of little mini parties at the branches, but I'm not sure how much of that is going on this year. It's still in planning stages.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I like to do is I like to do read alouds with people, similar to Drop Everything and Read, especially if you get a group of people and they can take turns. So like with a children's program, there's something called Reader's Theater, where you adapt a story into kind of a stage play format, and you have assign people parts and you do a table read. So that's something that I like to see, and I'll probably be doing, at least at Murray Hill.
Mm-hmm. And where can our listeners find these programs?
You can find all of our programs on our website, jackspubliclibrary.org, under events, and you can filter it down by whatever locations you like or what age groups you're looking for.
Cool. That sounds fun.
Have you watched anything that you loved on Canopy recently?
Yes, but I'm kind of a horror movie fan, so fair warning on that. Over December, I was looking for Christmas movies, and we have the original Black Christmas, which is one of the first slasher movies from the 70s. We also had a Finnish movie that's a horror movie about Santa Claus. And there's also Bride of Reanimators in there. So it's just a lot of really great classic special effects horror movies from the 70s forward that some of them I've seen before and some of them I haven't, but it's really nice to revisit those now.
Definitely.
Well, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about?
If there's a new book coming out that you find online through New York Times Book Review or through blogs like Book Riot, you can always search our catalog for it first. But if it's not there on the right side of the page, it'll ask if you want us to get it through ILL, which stands for Interlibrary Loan, or if you want to suggest a purchase. For either one, you do need a library card, but if you put in your card number and an email address, it'll send an email on to the right people to either purchase a copy for the Jacksonville Public Library, or if it's an older book that we just don't have anymore, we can get it through another library.
Very cool.
And always good to mention that if you find a book that you like in our catalog and you want it transferred to your local branch, just put a hold on it. And within like 2 or 3 days, it'll be at your local branch if it's not on hold.
Absolutely. It does depend on how many copies we have and the geography of Jacksonville, because it's such a large town. So if you're putting something on hold at the West Branch on Chaffee and the only copy available is at the Beaches Branch, it might take longer than 3 days, but it will be there soon, and we'll give you a call when it comes in.
Yeah, I love that feature.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Shawn, for joining us.
My pleasure.
We hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and found some books that you might be interested in and enjoyed sitting down with us and having a conversation with Shawn Norton from our Readers Advisory Committee.
And definitely keep in mind our library hacks, that if there is a book that you're excited about, but you don't see it on the library's catalog, you can always reach out and request that we buy it. And remember that you can always get books, DVDs, and other materials transferred to your local branch to make it easier to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Amanda.
Bye guys.